Hello, everybody. This is Napa Fan here, aka Alexander Graham, and we are back once again for the RTG Talladega Challenge. First of all, we apologize for the technical difficulties. Seems like they keep on hitting us every week, but we should be good to go for this, the 13th race of the season and the first race in the round of two. Or should I say the round of eight, I should say, the second round of the chase. And the points have been reset. Bob Seminara, last week's winner, and Tim Nofsker, the winner the week before that, both with 5 bonus points, but everybody else even at 700. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all plays out. I'm joined alongside Anthony McCurry for the first time ever. Been first time in a while since you've called a race, but it's going to be interesting. They have 2 races left, and pretty much these 8 guys still left in the chase are even with only 2 races until we decide the final 4. How aggressive do you think these guys are going to be here today at Talladega?
Well, they have to be aggressive, but they can't be too aggressive. Talladega is one of those tracks where you have to be on the edge, but one wrong move here and everything falls apart. So those drivers who are getting ready to try to get into the final round, they don't have to push it super early, but when crunch time comes with the last 10 laps, you can bet to see that they're going to be making their way to the front very quick.
And especially considering that the 8 chase drivers DNQ, that means they start in the back of the field for each race. That's how it's been the past 2 races, and they're going to be starting in the back of the field. But like I mentioned, Bob Seminara, Tim Nofsker, 705 points each. Everybody else, Terry Bombard, Joe DeSpirito, Josh Metallic, Mark Paglio, Richard Martin, and Grant Wesley, all at 700 points coming into this race. 2 races. If you win one of these next 2 races, you're automatically locked onto the final 4, and the top 4 in points outside of those winners as well will make it on and battle for a championship in the finale 2 weeks from now. In the back of the field, we have those 8 chase drivers: Mark Paglia, Richard Martin, Joe DeSpirito, Tim Nofsker, Bob Seminara, Josh Metallic, Terry Bombard, and Grant Wesley. Have to see how they maneuver their way through the field. On the pole, once again, it is Corey Deal, the number 944, alongside Bernie Mobbs, who was eliminated from the chase last week. Jessica Shelton alongside Bob Dixon. J.R. Deal alongside Dave Little. Donnie Garrett alongside Dante Risi. Of course, Garrett was another guy who was eliminated from the chase last week. And then Chris Elliott and the 13 of Dave Melson. The top 10 starting positions here from Talladega, race 13. Once again, 66 laps of action here in the Talladega Challenge for RTG. And now it's on between those 8 chase drivers looking to make it into those final 4 spots for the finale 2 weeks from now. Here we go. Corey Deal and Bernie Mobbs on the front row. Let's get this one started. Race 13 of the season is underway here from Talladega.
A great start by every driver involved. They start out nice and slow. They get into a groove, and it looks like the 94 and the 944 are starting to push around, and they get really close together in the back there. But so far, it looks like a clean start.
Of course, these guys have raced a couple of clean races these past couple of chase races. We'll have to see if the aggression amps up between those 8 chase drivers in the back of the field. Another thing that we have seen during a lot of these races, especially at the start, that the outside lane tends to be the preferred line. So we'll have to see what Bernie Mobbs can do with that. Of course, a former chase driver, unfortunately, had a rough couple of races the past couple of weeks and knocked him out of championship contention. However, the opportunity is still there to get race victories. He's going to try to work that outside lane with Bob Dixon right behind him, but it will be the 944 of Corey Deal leading lap number 1 here at Talladega.
And a commanding lead also. He's been able to keep the bottom line nice and tight behind him. The outside line has been trying, but doesn't seem like it has the steam as the inside line now clears the outside by 2 car lengths. The 9 got a little bit of the apron as looks like he goes up the top of the racetrack.
Good run there for Jessica Shelton, and she saw the potential that outside lane had, and they're going to have a ton of momentum as the inside lane lost a little bit of ground right there. Bernie Mobbs right behind Jessica Shelton, the 94, trying to edge out Corey Deal for the race lead, but they remain side by side for the top position. Check back in and see how the chasers are doing at the moment. Of course, all 8 chase drivers start at the back of the field for every race. You got Richard Martin in the 22nd position right now. Tim Nofsker, Josh Metallic, Terry Bombard all in the line. And then on the inside, it's Mark Paglia, Joe DeSpirito, Bob Seminara, and Grant Wesley, all still at the back of the field early on in this race.
They seem to be pretty content running at the back of the field right now as they go 3 wide in front. I don't necessarily think they'd want to go up there super quick. So hanging at the back might be the best strategy at the moment.
Of course, we have seen those chase drivers in the past two chase races so far move their way through the field by the end of the race. So it's still early on, only lap 3 of 66. Those guys will have plenty of time to work their way to the front, especially considering that we will have pit stops and 19 to 21 lap fuel window for these guys, as always. So a 3-stop race, the way things go, if it stays green, of course. Then again, odds are it'll stay green probably aren't that much, as we have seen in the past couple of races that there have been a couple of big wrecks. But clean racing so far. We did have a long green flag run to start off last week, and on that outside lane, Dante Risi going to get shuffled behind, but it's pretty much a deadlock up front at the moment between Jessica Shelton and Corey Deal.
Yeah, that no one seems to be able to get the advantage. Corey Deal is still hounding that inside line, and Jessica Shelton looks like she's got a car length advantage now. Could dip down if she wanted to, but cannot do it at the moment. As now, here comes Deal again to pull alongside. And
Corey Deal has help there from JR Deal. Yeah, you mentioned there. And they also have Donnie Garrett, who, even though he was eliminated in the first round of the chase, he only raced in one of those races. So you know he's a very strong driver. Same with Bernie Mobbs, with those guys, former chasers, running inside this top 6 right now and helping these guys out up front. A lot of 3 wide in the back of the field on that outside lane. Hank Middleton, great to see him back, and he's bringing Richard Martin along with him. Richard Martin and Tim Novska are currently the 2 highest chase drivers in the field. Right behind them, it is the 39 of Josh Metallic. But those 4 guys, those 4 chase drivers, I should say, who are on the outside lane in the back of the field have moved their way up, while the 4 guys who were on the inside, Mark Paglio, Joe DeSpirito, Bob Seminara, and Grant Wesley, are still at the back of the field on the inside lane. But Richard Martin, he's running very aggressive right there on that outside lane right behind Hank Middleton. We'll have to see if they can push their way to the front at some point. Jessica Shelton with an advantage right now in the 94, and Bernie Mobbs giving her a great push right there up front. Shelton will lead lap number 5.
Yeah, Mobbs has got a huge run to Shelton, and it looks like they're trying to get something on the outside line to work. The outside line has not yet been able to take an advantage, as we've seen in this series where you said that the outside line does have the advantage, but so far today we've seen it coming kind of slowly. As again on the bottom there goes Corey Deal again.
Corey Deal and JR Deal. They've been working with each other quite a bit these past few races, and they got Donnie Garrett on the inside lane, and they're making that inside lane work pretty well. This is the most even I've seen both of these lines work in a race in a little while here in the Talladega Challenge. Great run, though, for those guys on the inside lane. And we're just going to have to see how it all goes down for him. Keep back on Richard Martin in the 43, who is now the 2nd highest chase driver, looking to be the 3rd now as he's starting to slip up just a little bit. Tim Novska in the 088 is now ahead of him there, and Josh Metallic right behind him. Of course, Metallic really had to be careful last week because he almost missed out on the chase, wrecked out in the first race of the chase, and then had to race his way in on points last week, and it came pretty close between him, Bernie Mobbs, and Donnie Garrett. Of course, if Garrett had won last week, I don't know if Metallic would be here in this position right now, but here he is, 3rd highest chase driver at the moment. Of course, Novsker and Seminara, the 2 guys with 5 bonus points, but other than that, everybody even coming into this race. So each of these positions means everything towards the championship.
Right, and we know how important positioning on the track is when it comes to the late stages in the race. So you have to have a good, clean drive all the way through. As we've seen in some races, like you said, they had to race their way in the last race. If you're not in a good position and you have an opportunity to race your way in, you don't want to be struggling around. So some of these drivers making their way to the front is a good thing at the moment, and we should see in the next
right in front. Up front there, the 93 is upside, or 83, excuse me, flying through the air, and it does appear that all the chase drivers avoided this one, but the 83, Dave Little, went flying through the air. Jeff Crivello in the 56 and the 056 of Jeffrey Elliott also caught up, but miraculously all the chase drivers avoided that one. Our first caution here on lap 8 of 66. Race back to the line will be won by Corey Deal in the 944.
That was a sudden incident. In fact, I thought I saw one of them get off the wall and come down into one of the other drivers, but that again, to the point, like, do you make your way to the front early, or do you hang at the back because you might be caught up in one of these, and all of a sudden your chase hopes are over.
083, Dave Little took a wild ride. All of a sudden, he was flipping through the air. And of course, I was going to mention with all those chase drivers in the back that, if any of them win this race, they will be in that Final Four championship 2 weeks from now. So there's a lot at stake for those guys. And if we have a lot of those chase drivers racing near the end, can imagine that we're going to see ourselves a pretty interesting battle because they know what's going to be at stake if any of them get the race victory here today. And check in and see if these guys come down the pit lane. But Dave Little in the 083 went flying through the air.
Just pulled up a replay of it. It seemed like Dave Little, it looks like he got into the back, or he got turned off of the guy behind him, and then he went up and slapped the wall. And when he did that, he came down right in front of, I can't even see what car that is. The 56 got shunted. The 83 goes backwards up into the air, so Dave Little took a ride. He came down across the front of the 13, and then he gets punted behind, and they both go flying. Big, scary incident that happened on the backstretch.
You also see the 13 there. He took a wild ride. A lot of air in that incident right there. Pit stop's currently going on. And everyone down the pit lane, Tim Knopfsker in the 088 going to gain a pretty big advantage right here. Corey Deal wins the race off. Jessica Shelton, J.R. Deal, Bernie Mobbs, Donnie Garrett, Bob Dixon, and then Tim Knopfsker, who will most likely be inside the top 10 once we get to the restart. And talk about that wreck just a little bit more. The 083 machine of Dave Little getting sent into the air. Definitely a wild ride for him, and they caught us off guard. A lot of these wrecks, they occur and they kind of come out of nowhere, and that's how that one was. We were focusing on the chase drivers in the back of the field when it occurred. But like you had mentioned there, man, it looks like he just got into the back of Bob Dixon just a little bit and nowhere to go for him, and Dave Melson took a wild ride there. But somehow, some way, all the chase drivers avoided it, and thankfully, they're all still in this race looking for that spot into the championship for 2 weeks from now. But either way, outside of that one wreck, it's been a clean race. How do you think the rest of this one's going to play out?
Well, if it's anything like we just saw, it could go either way. There was good, solid, clean racing, and then it took one mistake, and then almost from the middle on back, had to avoid that wreck. Thankfully, the cars that were involved scoot down onto the apron, so most of the cars behind could avoid it. But, as we've seen, it could go either way. It could be nice and green all the way to the end, or we could see more of what we just saw where, again, little mistakes could cause big instances.
And Wayne Prim now led a lap right there, but he is coming down to take his service. Corey Deal and Jessica Shelton, top 2 drivers in the field. Bernie Mobbs and J.R. Deal in row number 2. Donnie Garrett will be alongside Bob Dixon in the 143. That will be row number 3. Tim Knopfsker will restart in the 7th position, highest chase driver in the field. And remember, he didn't even win a race this season until the first chase race 2 weeks ago. So definitely coming on very strong here late in the going. He was also in contention for the race victory last weekend as well. Chris Elliott, number 9 machine, will be restarting alongside Knopfsker in that position. Hank Middleton will be 9th. Josh Metallic, second highest chase driver, will be 10th. Richard Martin will be 11th. Terry Bombard in 12th. All 3 of those guys chase drivers. David Lawson, Mark Paglia will be in the 14th position. Perry Bond will be 15th. Robert Balcom, great to see Robert. Running here in the Talladega Challenge, be restarting in the 16th position. Joe DeSpirito, chase driver, will be restarting 17th. Wiley Coate will be 18th. Grant Wesley, 19th. And he was hanging in the back quite a bit there during that green flag run. He has been the last chase driver in the field pretty much this entire race so far. He isn't at the moment. I do believe Bob Seminara is behind him. Jeff Gravello will be 20th. Mike Rogers, Dave Melson, John Godfrey, Dante Risi, Bob Seminara back in 25th. He is the last chase driver in the field at the moment. Wayne Prim now, Jeffrey Elliott, Dave Little, Glenn Harris, BL Asor, and Cy Jones. That'll be the full field. Lights are still on the pace car. Corey Deal, the race leader, with Jessica Shelton alongside him.
Well, it was a nice little reset for all these drivers. They were getting into a groove. Now, in a driver's headspace, they have to now be resetting for the rest of the race. We still have a long way to go. We are only on lap 11 to 66. So, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that they might come out of the gate a little bit more cautious about what just happened, or do you think that they'll go back to the 2 and 3 wide racing that we'd seen up until that point?
It depends on how it rolls out. Of course, we do have those chase drivers still in the back of the field. I'd imagine, I mean, we saw what Nopsker did there on the restart. I'd imagine he'll be going for that race lead here eventually. But you generally, in the past few races, they've done a good job in the 2 and 3 wide, keeping it clean. So I don't think this wreck is going to keep them from doing that again. Obviously, it was just simply a racing incident there with Dave Little getting into the back, and we'll just have to see.
Indeed.
Have all sorts of instances happen in this series, and Tim Nopsker looks like that may have been a penalty on him. He has fallen to the back of the field, I do believe.
Oh, I wonder what he got penalized for.
He's fallen. Trying to locate him on the racetrack here, and I do not see him anymore.
Well, Bob Seminara is just coming off of pit road.
Seminara topped off. He was at the back of the field initially.
Jeffrey
088
Elliott.
has fallen out.
Jeffrey Elliott just came off of
huge.
pit road.
But
Yeah.
Tim Nopsker, it looks like he might be out of the race. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but the 088 has fallen out of the race. And that's going to open the door wide open for a lot of these guys, because Nopsker seemed to have one of the strongest cars in this race, and now it does appear that he will be out. Don't exactly know what the issue is. I saw him pull down to the apron, and then all of a sudden he was not on the racetrack anymore. That's going to put Josh Metallic and Richard Martin in the top 2 chase positions, with Terry Bombard there in third, Mark Paglia right behind Bombard. Then Joe DeSpirito and Grant Wesley back in the field, and Bob Seminara topped off on that caution as he would have restarted deep in the field. And there's Nopsker. He's back on. I'm wondering if he had a connection issue. Odds are he's going to restart in the back of the field, but Nopsker is back out there and on. Going him a lap down at this point. He may be a lap down.
They might keep him a lap down, or else I don't know. I think that maybe there was a penalty involved for something. We don't know. We haven't seen anything. We haven't gotten any indication. But he is at the tail end of the field at the moment.
And the pace car is pulling off, and they will be restarting. Nopsker is officially a lap down at this point. However, we do get another caution. There is the free pass. So Nopsker's chances of winning this race are not done. It's better than him being knocked out. I'm wondering if there might have been a possible connection issue there. So tough break there from Nopsker, but he is still in this race. As with the rest of the chase drivers, he is the only driver a lap down. The 30 other drivers still on the lead lap. Back to racing. Lap number 13 of 66. And Jessica Shelton with a run on the outside, trying to get some help there from J.R. Deal. Corey Deal on the inside. They're dead even up front.
And a big push from J.R. Deal to Jessica Shelton on the start. It looked like that maybe they had an advantage going into turn 1, but on the exit of turn 2, it looks like the Corey Deal is going to pull just about even with Jessica Shelton as they go down the backstretch.
Mark Paglia had a really huge run, and he moved up to the outside lane. He was actually behind Metallic and Bombard and decided to move up to the outside lane. So a very interesting move out of the chase driver, Mark Paglia, right there. But Josh Metallic, highest chase driver in the field at the moment. Wouldn't be something if he won this race and advanced on to the championship 4. He almost didn't even get out of the first round. But right now, he's in the best position possible of all the chase drivers. But Richard Martin is working the outside on him, trying to get that highest chase position. 3 wide there for the 5th position. Donnie Garrett on the inside, Bob Dixon and Hank Middleton trying to work an outside lane. Garrett getting a little squirrely there on the inside lane, but they're keeping it together for now. Chris Elliott there on the inside as well, right ahead of Josh Metallic. Richard Martin working that 3rd lane. Here comes Hank Middleton. They got a huge run on the outside lane. This looks like the finish that we had last weekend.
Wow,
Middleton and Martin on the outside.
Wow, they are going hard at it also. It looks like that the best one out of the stick right now might be Middleton, because he's got a major run coming out of turn 4. We'll see what they get at the line, but it looks like maybe the extreme outside line might clear the middle lane as Shelton's kind of in the middle of all of this mess, along with JR Deal.
That inside lane is definitely benefiting from those two lanes on the outside battling with each other, and Corey Deal remains out front with now Bernie Mobbs and Donnie Garrett second and third. Chris Elliott's going to clear Jessica Shelton. Now Shelton's going to move up to that third lane, but that third lane's losing a lot of momentum, and now Josh Metallic is in the highest chase position at the moment.
Metallic is moving his way into a 5th position at the moment, and if he gets the toe off of the 9, he should be able to clear Shelton. He does. Now Metallic runs 5th. Right behind him, you have Terry Bombard right behind. This train is starting to happen on the inside line, and it's kind of left the two outside lanes in the dust.
Metallic, though, going to try to work an outside lane here, and Terry Bombard's going to go with him. Past couple of chase races, Terry Bombard's been a guy who's kind of hung in the back a lot of these races, but he's found his way to the front at the end. A little bit different today. Bombard is up front early on in this race, and he's going for it because, like we mentioned, any of these guys get a race victory, and these chase drivers get a race victory here tonight, they're on to the championship four, and Metallic knows that. A lot of help there from Terry Bombard. Seems like those guys might be working together, and why not? Early on in the race, get up to the front and possibly have a shot getting some bonus points as well, because you get a bonus point for leading a lap and another bonus point for leading the most laps. Most laps led so far have been Corey Deal in the 944, but Metallic may take this race lead away here shortly.
Yeah, that outside line's got a major run coming out of 4. I saw them going down the backstretch, and they came up all the way from what was level with 3rd place to now being level with 1st place. And it looks like there might be a challenge for the lead going into turn 1. Out of turn 2, though, we'll see, because it seems like on the front and back stretch, the outside line has the advantage, but once you get into the turns, the inside line's got the advantage. So it's kind of a tug of war between these two lanes, and it doesn't even. And by the end of the lap, they draw even, so no one really has the advantage at the moment. If Metallic could get some side draft off of Deal, or even the 90 of Mobs, then maybe that he could slingshot around to the start finish line when time comes. But I think they're just testing the waters to see how the track feels at the moment. But it definitely seems like they're sizing each other up for when we get within 10 laps to go.
They are definitely all over the place. The third line's back up there, and that's Jessica Shelton, Hank Middleton. That middle lane got up front. Bernie Mobbs moved up in front of Metallic, and now Metallic's in the middle. All these cars around him. Not necessarily the best place to be, because you really can't get out of that. And out of nowhere, now you got Joe DeSpirito and Grant Wesley on the inside lane. Now DeSpirito's the highest chase driver in the field. They came out of nowhere, but they ran it patient and just held that inside lane, and now they're in the best positions. Because I think that inside lane is going to get an advantage on the outside lanes right there. But how about DeSpirito and Wesley? They're going to move themselves inside the top 5 right here with this move.
Yeah, and there goes that inside line again. So, again, we've seen where they get 2 and 3 wide, the inside line seems to rocket away as soon as they go 3 wide. So, DeSpirito, like you said, like he was in mid-pack earlier when we last looked at him, and now all this, I saw the 43
Bernie
get out
Mobbs.
of shape.
Really cut it close right there ahead of Bob Dixon, but somehow they avoided it.
That's
going to hold up these outside lanes even more.
Wow, they are shuffling a lot back here. The 43 got loose. Martin came down the track in the midst of everybody, and it kind of shook everyone up. So now looks like they're going to resettle a bit. The 9 pulls out looking for a run, but Elliott did not seem to have anybody go with him.
And thankfully, he did get back in line.
Whoa, the 9. Whoa, wow, the 9's loose. Deal holds on to it. Wow, he got on the apron, and then he came right back up the track, but it looks like he held on to it.
You see the gap right there between JR Deal and the 143 of Bob Dixon, and that's going to hurt that inside lane a little bit. Going to help out Metallic and Bombard and Shelton and Middleton on that outside lane, but it seems like it's calmed down a little bit. Those outside lanes did not get good runs there. Now you got JR Deal trying to close back in on the inside lane. Richard Martin's falling back a little bit, currently in 14th, and you got Mark Paglia in 17th. Tim Nosker a lap down still in the middle of all this, and he's got to be careful not to get involved in a wreck if it does happen. But he wants a caution to come out so he can get that free pass to get back on the lead lap. So definitely going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. Bob Seminara hasn't really moved up too much from where he restarted, currently in the 21st position, and he is the 7th chase driver in line. Of course, Nosker is the last one in line. Donnie Garrett with a huge move to the inside, but could not hold it, and Corey Deal will remain out front.
Yeah, they keep racing 2 by 2, and it seems like the intensity hasn't gone down any at all. They We've had a couple of close calls the last few laps, but they're right back to racing hard for each other. It looks like no that they've kind of slowed down a bit to 2 wide racing, but as we've seen, the top lane keeps coming in and going out, and we've seen different faces at the front of it. But so far, the only thing that stayed constant is the fact that Deal is still in the lead, and he's got pretty he seems to be being able to manage the 2 lanes pretty well, although he seems to have stuck to the bottom lane as the one that he prefers. So maybe there's something about that. Maybe it's just that they can't get to the bottom because he's always there.
These guys have been racing very hard, but that outside lane has not worked as well tonight as it has in prior races. However, they do have Grant Wesley on that outside lane now, multi-time winner this season. And Wesley trying to become the highest chase driver in the field. He is side by side with Joe DeSpirito there for that 4th position. DeSpirito did a great job moving his way up front. Had Wesley helping him out there, and now you got Metallic right behind Wesley on that outside lane with Terry Bombard. So 4 of those chase drivers right on each other. Then Martin and Paglia helping each other midway through the field, and Seminara deeper in the field with Nofsker a lap down. That's where all the chase drivers are right now. Donnie Garrett got a little loose there on the inside lane. That's going to open the door for Wesley to get a run on the outside. And watch out. Here comes Grant Wesley looking to take the race lead here. 3rd of the way through the 13th race of the season here in the RTG Talladega Challenge. And a huge run on the outside for Grant Wesley. Looks like he might lead this lap.
Yeah, he's gonna get in front of the 944, and he does lead the lap. He's got him clear, so if he can duck to the inside lane, he's got the lead. But here comes Deal to the inside again. It looked like that Garrett tried to, on the backstretch the last lap, tried to step out and bypass Deal, but he couldn't get the job done because Elliott didn't go with him. But now they're back side by side, the accordion effect on the backstretch. But now Wesley does have the advantage. He can duck down and take the lead indefinitely, but he stays to the outside lane. It seems like he wants that train to go with him.
And of course, you got to think those are 3 chase drivers right there on that outside lane. So they're going to be careful not to wreck, but they're also going to be racing really hard. And no surprise, see them move their way up to the front. Grant Wesley in the 88 machine, 3-time winner this season, I do believe. And he's looking for win number 4 and a ticket to the championship 4 here at Talladega. You got Metallic right behind him, though. He also wants that ticket. Same with Terry Bombard. Bit of a gap right there. Chris Elliott in the 9 going to put some space in between him and Donnie Garrett. That's going to hurt that inside lane just a little bit. I'm wondering if that's Chris Elliott trying to figure something out, but you're going to see Wesley and now Metallic and now even Bombard going to...
Ooh,
Bombard's not going to be able to clear Deal, but Metallic and Wesley can if they choose to, but they seem to be holding this outside lane fairly well at this point, so I would imagine they're going to be staying in those positions for the time being.
Wayne Pribna had a major run, didn't know where to take it, almost took out the guy in front of him. That could have been a disastrous effect for the people behind. He almost took out the 24, which, as you know, would not have been good for his championship hopes.
And you got to think, only half of the chase drivers make it onto the championship 4. It's not 8 out of 10 guys like it was in the first round, so the pressure is on for these guys, and it's going to be intense to see who gets it done, but only 1 caution so far, and thankfully none of the chase drivers were involved in the accident. Lap 25 of 66, closing in on halfway, closing in on pit stops as well. They last came down on around lap 11, actually lap 9, lap 10. So 4 to 5 to 6 laps from now, we'll have green flag pit stops if the race is still green by that point. So that's going to really get interesting. But 1, 2, 3 right now, chase drivers. Grant Wesley, Josh Metallic, and Terry Bombard. Jessica Shelton, highest non-chaser in the field, as that outside lane is starting to get on the inside lane.
Yeah, we were back looking at the incident that took place with the 00. I didn't even realize that we have a brand new leader that has pulled away from Deal. So like you said, the outside line is coming in now.
Number 88 of Grant Wesley, looking for his 4th win of the season, doing a great job. Check back through the field and look at the other chase drivers. And Bob Seminara has not been able to move his way through the field. Last week's winner in 27th. A little bit different than what we saw out of him last week. Right ahead of him, not too far behind, or not too far ahead, I should say, Mark Paglia and Richard Martin both outside the top 20 as well. So 4 of the chase drivers outside the top 20. The other 4 all inside the top 10. So if it stays that way heading in the next week, it's going to be tough for those bottom 4 guys to have an opportunity in making it onto the championship 4 without a race victory. But Either way, these top three have done the best job so far. Grant Wesley, I'm really impressed with. At the top of the race, he just stayed back. He was the last guy in the field for a little bit there. But then once the second run came on, he just stayed on the inside lane, went all the way through. When the opportunity was right to go to the outside lane, he took it, and now he is the race leader with Josh Metallic and Terry Bombard behind him. And they're definitely keeping it clean right now, working together to get to this cycle of green flag pit stops, which should be happening here very soon here at Talladega.
Yeah, they got to make sure that they be careful coming onto pit road. I was observing some of them in practice, and a few of them had some problems getting on the pit road when they would lock the tires up and then spin on the pit road. So they got to be careful when they get on, because you don't want to end your championship hopes trying to get new tires.
Josh Metallic, Terry Bombard, those guys moving to the inside. Bombard's going to stay on the outside lane as Wesley and Metallic go to the inside, along with Jessica Sheldon, Hank Middleton as well, all clearing the 944 of Corey Deal. Now Bombard is all by himself in that outside lane with J.R. Deal helping him. Joe DeSpirito's moved his way up there as well. And even though he's a lap down, Tim Novskar's on that outside lane as well. But I would imagine that was a planned move to get set up for the green flag cycle here in just a few laps. Grant Wesley and Josh Metallic, 1-2 right now here at Talladega.
As they go down out of turn 4, is anyone going to peel off now? No, we're going to go around one more time. So, I don't know, do you think they've been in communication with each other about when they want to go in and when they don't want to go down? Because
I definitely think that they are. Obviously, you do not want to wreck coming down the pit lane. You want to make sure you have a clean cycle, and these guys definitely want to make sure they don't take each other out. I think these guys they would definitely feel bad if they took out another chase competitor, you know, because of a driver error. So these guys are definitely going to do all they can to have a clean cycle here. You can see some guys in the back moving down to the inside lane. I would imagine here it is 19 laps at this time around, so they pretty much only have 2 laps after this one to come down and make a stop. But I would imagine we might see a few guys peel off right here.
We're probably going to see more than half of them peel off. Oh, there they go.
Hank Middleton. A lot of guys in the back coming down, right? Oh, and they wrecked.
No.
Mark Paglia, number 29, a chase driver involved. Richard Martin as well. And I do believe that will bring out the yellow flag. Will not.
No,
lights are still
green.
off the pace car. It was at the back of the field. No yellow. And I believe they may let this thing cycle through. Mark Paglia and Richard Martin were a couple of guys who got involved in that. And Paglia completely missed the pit lane, so he's going to have to come back down again. That is an absolute disaster for Paglia on the 28 machine.
That was that is not what you want to have happen when going to pit road. And it looks like that the 39 is washing up the track. Maybe they're coming down again. There they go. Metallic is going to stay out, but there comes the leader Wesley into pit road.
And this time, it's a much cleaner exchange down to the pit lane. Wesley is down. Metallic going to lead a lap right there. And every point counts. Of course, you get a bonus point towards the championship if you lead a lap, and Metallic's going to grab it right there.
We have a lot of our chase drivers on pit road now. DeSpirito's on, Wesley is on, a few others are on.
Grant Wesley, Joe DeSpirito down the pit lane. That time around, Mark Paglia will finally get back around, but he's going to lose a lap most likely after that exchange. Metallic, Novsker, they're still out there. Of course, Novsker is a lap down. Terry Bombard, Bob Seminara also still on the racetrack. So these chase drivers taking split strategies. Of course, for Richard Martin and Mark Paglia, they're not going to get a good exchange. Grant Wesley and the 24 of Joe DeSpirito coming off right on each other. Same with Jessica Sheldon right there in the 94.
The 10 got rear-ended. Now they're wrecking in the down pit road. It looks like that Bombard got spun. Someone locked the tires up, and I can't tell who it was, but the 10 got shunted at the entrance of pit road.
Thankfully, it wasn't as much of a disaster for Bombard. He will lose some time, but it wasn't as bad as Paglia. Those are 2 chase drivers, actually 3 chase drivers, because Richard Martin also had an issue coming down. So that's 4 chase drivers who have had major issues in this race. As Tim Novsker earlier on with his connection issue, and then you had Terry Bombard get spun off heading in, and then a couple laps before, you ended up having Richard Martin and Mark Paglia getting into each other. Paglia completely missed the pit lane because of it. I do believe that this will cycle out to Wesley being the race leader, possibly. You got Metallic right there in the 39. And I'd imagine Wesley and these guys are going to be coming full speed here, and they will most likely surpass Metallic. They actually, they might pick up Metallic here. We'll have to see. Wesley and these guys have a huge run. Jessica Shelton, Joe DeSpirito, 2 chase drivers in this main pack right here. I do believe they will pick up the 39 of Metallic.
They will.
And Metallic will most likely be... here comes Wesley. That 88 is going to be the new race leader here. Metallic going to try to help Novsker there, who is still a lap down in the 088. So Wesley will get the race lead off the cycle. Jessica Shelton, Joe DeSpirito, and Donnie Garrett going to be the top 4 once this cycle ends.
That was a chaotic pit cycle. Pit lane entrance was a busy place this round of pit stops.
And surprisingly, no caution.
Yeah, we're still
kept it green. Mark Paglia is, if I'm not mistaken, still on the lead lap. Now, if things stay green, good chance he could end up going a lap down, but somehow he didn't actually lose a lap technically. Richard Martin actually lost more time. Martin had to stay on the pit lane to repair damage, I do believe. Now things are going to get interesting. Novsker there, who is a lap down, trying to get his lap back. He actually can surpass Wesley here, get a lap back, and if he catches a caution at the perfect time, he doesn't even have to take the wave around. You got Josh Metallic in the 39, right behind him. Metallic trying to get around the 88 of Grant Wesley, but they will not be able to hold the inside, and Wesley remains out front.
This group of cars here seem to broke away.
Got a move right there. Joe DeSpirito to the inside for second. He may get a run to the inside of Wesley for the lead.
Now he's got the 77 right behind him pushing. Garrett has got a run. The 24 will take the lead on the backstretch.
So now they're going to leave Shelton and Wesley out to dry in the outside lane. They only have Hank Middleton. Now Corey Deal will move up with those guys. But now Joe DeSpirito going to take the race lead away in the number 24 machine. We're past halfway, I should say, here at Talladega. They are closing in fast on chase driver Richard Martin, who is about to go a lap down in the 43. It looks like he is giving way to these guys in the lead draft.
That's a good thing that the back markers here are respecting the blue flags. That's always good.
I don't think Richard Martin really wants to be a back marker, though. I mean,
no,
one of the chase drivers in one. I believe, race 7 of the season. I don't know if he's going to be able to win this week. Obviously, had that issue coming down the pit lane.
This is not a place that you want to be in. You're right. To have such high hopes going into this race and then having an incident happen on the pit road entrance is definitely not something that will help you in any way.
No, not at all, and especially when you are a chase driver and Richard Martin may be in a must-win situation next week for the last race before the championship for Novsker in the 088. And Grant Wesley's helping him out here. That outside lane's formed up much better than it was earlier on. Novsker may regain his lap. Now, the problem is he's going to need a caution to get back in contention for the race win.
Now,
but
though that
he's getting 1 lap back, I do believe. He may actually already be 2 laps down at this point.
Oh, wow.
No, no, he is on the lead lap. He is.
So that
just
being
barely
said,
ahead of Joe DeSpirito there, but we'll have to see. He will need a caution if he's ahead of the race leader for him to be back in contention. But then again, he could also be the first guy 1 lap down and get the free pass. But he's pulling that outside lane and Wesley to the race lead.
That being said, though, is that now that Novsker's got back on the lead lap, the 43 car is only 1 lap down to my knowledge. So now Richard Martin is in this. He has caught the tail end of this lead pack. So he seems to be running at race pace. So he is a lap down, but that means that he could potentially be one of those drivers that get away around if Novsker happens to be in front of the leader if a caution comes out, or the 43
for the race lead. Sorry to interrupt you there. We got a battle here. Jessica Shelton, 94, to the inside of the chase driver, Grant Wesley. She had a run and she took it. And she could put Novsker a lap down again. Now, this is all bearing if a caution comes out. You also have Jeff Crivello in the 56, who's battling Richard Martin. So you may end up having a 3-way battle for the free pass if we get a caution. That's a big if because the pack split up. We have maybe about 14 guys in this lead pack right now, not all in the lead lap. Then we got a group of guys here. Bob Seminara is back in this second pack, currently in the 15th position. Barry Bombard, I think, is also lost out, and Wiley Coate, I believe he may be lagging pretty bad right there. That's definitely not what you want to see as a warp issue in the middle of a pack like this. Thankfully, they are keeping it together. But Jessica Shelton, Joe DeSpirito, 1-2 right now here at Talladega.
Yeah, that warp issue could have caused something major. I've had those happen to me before, and You don't like it when you see it, especially if you're fighting for the lead, and fighting for a championship. But Jessica Shelton is now going to take the 24 with her. They're kind of leaving the outside line out to dry. And to your point, or to further on that, the point I was making earlier is that, well, and also your point was a three-way battle for that position, or for the lead lap, could benefit, in both Novsker and the 43. So, we have the battle right now for the lead, and the battle within the battle within these chase drivers, but we also have that battle for potential wave around that could put another chase driver within contention. So I don't think these chase drivers that are on the lead lap in this pack are necessarily too keen to let them in front.
You got Grant Wesley, Joe DeSpirito, and Josh Metalik, the only three chase drivers in this pack who are on the lead lap. Novsker on the tail end as of right now, but battling between being a lap down to being on the tail end. Richard Martin in the 43 is a lap down. And then other guys, Bob Seminara on the lead lap in 15th in a second pack. And then a couple of other guys who had issues on the exchange of pit stops. Mark Paglia, who is still on the lead lap, and Terry Bombard as well. Paglia 23rd, Bombard in 25th. And they're actually close to being swallowed up by the lead pack right now. So they could end up joining this battle for that free pass. And you got Novsker, you got Richard Martin, and then you're going to end up having Paglia and Bombard if these guys catch up to that pack further up ahead. So that would really be an intense battle for the free pass between four chase drivers. That would be insane.
That would, I mean, you're fighting for the championship at that point, because even though that you're a lap down, if anything happens, you're in. You have a shot. So don't count these guys out yet. It may seem like they have no chance yet, but we still have a lot of race to go. We're still north of 20 laps to go. So plenty of time for these drivers to make up something.
We have ourselves, like you mentioned, 26 to go. We're well past halfway at this point. Only one caution so far. Been a relatively clean race, I should say. Knock on wood right there. Hopefully it stays that way, Chris. Then again, there are some guys who hope it doesn't stay that way, like Novsker and Richard Martin. Because if Novsker's ahead of Shelton if a caution comes out, Martin's still back there as well. They're both going to get back on the lead lap. Actually, I'm wrong about that. Jeff Crivello's ahead of Richard Martin. Now, they could take the free pass if they decide not to come down the pit lane, but we're closing in on a time where these guys are going to have to come back down again. So there's so many factors to this right now, and it could play out in so many different ways. But we have a non-chaser leading, of all things. Jessica Shelton in the 94 holding on. Joe DeSpirito, highest chase driver at the moment in a side-by-side battle with the other chase driver right alongside him. Grant Wesley, Josh Metalik also inside the top 10. Those are the only three chase drivers inside the top 10 at the moment.
I'm telling you one thing, though. Someone who's hoping that nothing extreme happens is Bob Seminara, because he's calmly running in 15th position, in the 4th position in the chase. So if all plays out the way it is, he's got a spot. See, he's just hoping that everything stays clean.
And of course, we still have one race after tonight before we determine that championship 4, but Seminara definitely in a position where it's not too bad. I mean, obviously we saw all the issues that the other chase drivers had on that exchange of pit stops, and saw the issue Novsker had before all that. Seminara's had a pretty clean race. He just hasn't been able to get himself up front. And he's running pretty calmly right now in the second pack of 6 cars, and staying within the lead pack as well. He's not going to go a lap down, so we're just going to have to see how it all plays out. But we got ourselves now 24 laps to go. Shelton's still leading. Novsker trying to work that outside lane and hope that he's ahead of Shelton or ahead of the leader when a caution may come out. But the caution might not come out. We could theoretically go caution-free to the end. And it's very possible the way these packs are split up.
Yeah, very possible. In fact, I would bet on it. If I was making your race strategy at the moment, then I would bet on not having another yellow. So when we have that second round of green flag pit stops, the biggest thing that these drivers are going to have to do is get a clean entry and a clean exit, and make sure that you don't go too fast down pit road, because you don't want to end up getting a black flag for speeding on pit road. That could end your day as quickly as someone running into you or spinning out of the pit road entrance.
And then we're going to have to see how it all plays out, because obviously we had our fair share of issues on that first exchange, and a couple of chase drivers with issues. Actually, 3 chase drivers, Richard Martin, Mark Paglia, and Terry Bombard, all with issues on the pit lane there, nearly half of the chase drivers. So He's
That
going to have to
being,
see. Novsker getting an advantage once again on the outside.
yeah, he's trying to get back on the lead lap. He is still holding back the 88, but I don't think that he's too concerned about that at the moment. He's just trying to get back on the lead lap. So if we do have a yellow as a result of maybe some green flag pit stop shenanigans, maybe he could have a chance.
He definitely could. We'll have to see. I would almost imagine Novsker may stay out a little bit longer than these guys and just hope that they do have some issues on the pit lane and a caution comes out and he can get back on the lead lap. So there's just so many scenarios that could happen. This next cycle is definitely going to be interesting. And we are closing in on that cycle. Lap 28 was, I believe, the first, actually lap 29, excuse me, was the first lap that they initially came down, I do believe. And with lap 29 being the last lap they came down, this lap 45 right now, if I do the math correctly, in about 4 to 5 laps, we will have our next cycle of green flag pit stops and our final cycle of green flag pit stops. And the yellow is out.
Well, that
changes everything. I did all that math for nothing.
Yeah, forget what we were
entirely
saying.
Sure where the issue might be.
Well, that plays out for Novsker. I think he's going to get the free pass at least. I think Shelton was in front of him when the yellow came out.
I believe you are right. So that will only benefit Tim Novsker. Richard Martin will remain a lap down.
I can't see anything where something would have happened. There's no skids anywhere. There's no smoke.
Very interesting situation right there. We'll have to see.
I think we have maybe a phantom yellow. I'll have to go back and look at it, but it doesn't seem like anything super obvious.
I'll go back and look at the time of caution here and try to get an idea of what could have possibly happened. Right there.
Everything seemed clean.
And yeah, I think you're right. This could have possibly been a competition yellow, which is definitely interesting. But at the moment of caution, there was no cars sideways or stopped on the racetrack. Best to our knowledge, there wasn't. The only guy who was multiple laps down and out of the race was Dave Little. Obviously, we saw the issue that he had earlier on. So I'm looking here. I do not believe that we had anybody have an issue. So that could have been a competition caution, which is really going to help out Tim Novsker. 088 machine. They are down the pit lane right now. And the 88 of Grant Wesley holding on to the top position coming down. Or should I say Jessica Shelton holding on to the top position coming down. Grant Wesley in the second position, I do believe, coming down the pit lane. Let's see how this whole thing cycles through. Jessica Shelton, stayed out. She did. So Shelton's going to stay out there. That's a very interesting strategy right there. I'm wondering.
Oh, the 143 just got turned on pit road. Yeah,
Bob Dixon around.
Bob Dixon got turned by somebody. I couldn't quite see who it was. I hope it wasn't. I think it might have been off of Josh Metallic. Because he was in the same area where he got spun.
Very interesting situation. Of course, it's going to be interesting. I think I know why Jessica Shelton's staying out now, because we're right on the edge of the fuel window. It's 20 laps to go right here.
You think that you could make it? Do you think it's worth staying out? Or I mean, because I don't think tires.
Here's the thing. She's probably going to come down this next time by. She's going to have just a little bit more fuel than everyone else who came down. Rest of those guys came down and crossed the line with 20 laps to go after they took their pit stop. Shelton will come down and have 19 laps to go. The fuel run is 19 to 21 laps. So, dependent upon how much fuel these guys got in, you might want to worry about a lot of these guys who just came down the pit lane. Grant Wesley won the race off of those guys. Then Joe DeSpirito, David Lawson up there now, Donnie Garrett, Corey Deal, and Dante Risi.
I just saw, speaking of Donnie Garrett's the one who spun the 143 on pit road. He was coming out of his pit box when the 143 was going into his. So Bob Dixon got spun off of Donnie's front end.
And there are actually two lucky dogs Thank you to David Cannon in the chat for letting us know that. So that, I believe, might benefit, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Jeff Crivello who was in that second position. Might want to go back and see how that affected it. We know Nopsker was one of them, as he was behind Shelton before the caution came out, but I do believe the other driver might have been Jeff Crivello in the 56. So Richard Martin, either way, would still be a lap down, which is tough because he had that damage from that first cycle of pit stops, or green flag cycle of pit stops, I should say. And in that cycle, he got involved there with Mark Paglia. Now, this is actually going to help Paglia and Seminara out. They're going to rejoin the pack, but especially Paglia because, you know, he had missed the pit stall, missed the pit lane, I should say, when that first green flag cycle of pit stops happened, and he lost a lot of time, but he managed to stay on the lead lap, and now he's running 19. He's going to be back in the lead pack. Same goes for Terry Bombard. They both lost a lot of time during that second pit stop of the race. They're going to have another chance at possibly getting up to the front, or at least salvaging a good points day, which, you know, in the end, you know, the points are going to come into play at the end of next week's race. See who makes it into the championship four. Right. Ty Jones is currently the race leader. He's still out there. He's going to stretch it even further than Jessica Shelton did. And he'll have 18 laps to go once he fills up the number 7 machine. But it will eventually lead way to Grant Wesley and Joe DeSpirito being the top 2 guys in the field. And they will lead us to our restart here. Next time around should be 1 to go till we get to that restart. There you see Tim Nopsker on the outside. He will get his lap back, and it was, in fact, Jeff Crivello who was the second lucky dog in the number 56. Both of those drivers will get their lap back. Richard Martin, I believe, will remain a lap down in the 43, which it was just a matter of inches there. If Nopsker had edged out Shelton before the caution came out, then Richard Martin would have gotten back on the lead lap, but that did not happen. And honestly, if you almost think about it, you know, Nopsker might have wanted that to happen. He might have wanted to be a lap down, got that first lucky dog, and Richard Martin didn't get it. Richard Martin is in the chase. Nopsker might get a bit of an advantage there by keeping Martin a lap down, and that might help him make it into the championship four. Those little things could affect how this championship could go down.
It's definitely good strategy if that's what he intended to do, and I got to tip my hat to him. Like he recognized where he was on the track in relation to Shelton, and he was able to pull it off.
Essentially, he took that lucky dog away from Richard Martin, so Martin's still going to be a lap down. The tough break, he's going to be the only one a lap down. You got to think, Nopsker had a topsy-turvy race, obviously had a connection issue and lost a lap there earlier on, but now he's going to be back on the lead lap, and I think there's plenty of time for him to get up to the front. So watch out for Nopsker, but Grant Wesley leading the field, you know he's good as well. Same with Joe DeSpirito. David Lawson, Donnie Garrett in row 2. Corey Deal and Dante Risi make up row number 3. J.R. Deal, Josh Metallic there in the 8th position, the 3rd highest chase driver in the field. Hank Middleton alongside Wiley Coate, that's the top 10. Jeffrey Elliott in the 056 alongside the 29 of Robert Balcom. Bernie Mobbs is 13th alongside Bob Seminara, who is 14th. Another one of those chase drivers who has just kind of had a mediocre day. He hasn't been involved in anything, but he hasn't been able to get up front. We'll see if he changes that. Obviously won last week in the Talladega Challenge. Perry Bond in 15th alongside Terry Bombard, who is 16th. Glenn Harris, Mark Paglia back on the lead lap. He actually has been on the lead lap the whole time, but he's going to be back in the main pack here in 18th. Chris Elliott will be to the inside of Wayne Pribnow. As a matter of fact, I'm wrong about that. It'll actually be Wayne Pribnow to the inside of Chris Elliott. Then it's Bob Dixon, Jessica Shelton, who topped off a lap later than everybody else. And then John Godfrey also on the lead lap with the number 13 of Dave Melson, the last guy who was on the lead lap when the caution came out. Nopsker and Jeff Crivello get the lucky dog, and then a lap down to the back of the field, it's Richard Martin, Mike Rogers, and Bielsaur. So, going to be interesting. How do you think it's going to play out here in these final 17 laps?
Well, I would definitely look for Shelton to make her way up through the field. In fact, all those drivers that pitted later than the rest of the field, I would, just because in the middle of the pack, give them a couple of laps and we should see them charging through the field, so don't count them out yet. Also, the chase drivers at the front, be sure to see them a lot more intense now that we're within 20 laps to go. This is crunch time. You have to maintain, you have to, everything that you had planned for, you have to execute it here. Otherwise, it's all for nothing.
And of course, if any of these chase drivers win here tonight, they will lock their spot in the championship for 2 weeks from now. Grant Wesley with a great jump there on the restart. And the 18 of David Lawson going to pull up right behind him, but Corey Deal's got a bit of a gap between him and the 18 machine. That's going to allow the outside lane to get some momentum there. Here comes Joe DeSpirito on the 24 to the outside.
He's got a major push from the 77 of Garrett right behind him. The outside line might have the advantage coming out of turn 4 by the time we get to the start-finish straight. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be the 24 of DeSpirito leading the way, and he is. He's pulled out in front of not only Wesley, but it looks like he's brought Garrett with him. DeSpirito with a commanding lead going into lap 51.
16 laps to go here at Talladega, and DeSpirito clearing down ahead of Grant Wesley. We're going to have to see. Donnie Garrett might be a little upset that he didn't make it onto this round of the chase. He's going to try to go for that race win.
He's
got some help there from the 84 Dante Ricci. Josh Metallic is also up there as well. You know, Metallic's going to want to work that outside lane, and a third line is forming up there. And guess who? You got 3 chase drivers on the outside lane. It's Bob Seminara leading it with Terry Bombard and Mark Paglia all try to get that outside lane to work up top. And we saw the finish of last week's race. That outside lane came into effect really, really, really good on the last lap of the race. And I forget who it was who was leading that line. They almost got the race victory. Bob Seminara got the race victory last week, I should say. But he almost lost it from that outside lane. Now he's going to try to work that outside lane and possibly get his way to the front. But it's side by side between DeSpirito and Donnie Garrett.
Right, and they still fight at the front of the field. In the middle, you got Josh Metallic, one of the chase drivers on the outside line of Deal. He was in the middle for a minute, and we've seen that in the past where they get 3 wide, the middle lane seems to get sucked back. So you think that Metallic is probably trying to get out of the middle lane as quickly as possible. There goes Garrett to the lead in the middle lane.
Had an advantage for a second, but he's going to slip up just a little bit, and Seminara is coming. That outside lane, they got a lot of guys, including Jessica Shelton, who you mentioned you thought was going to move her way up to the front during this run, and that is exactly what she's trying to do there on that outside lane. But how about Bob Seminara looking to go 2 in a row here in the Talladega Challenge? The inside lane got a good push there through the tri-oval, though. Number 24, Joe DeSpirito hanging on to the race lead, but here comes Seminara. We'll have to see if those 3 chase drivers can clear that middle lane.
David Lawson pushing Wesley right to get the inside line advantage, and then you have back behind them, you have Corey Deal, which has been at the front of the pack pretty much the entire race, except for the first round of pit stops where he got shuffled to the back. But now he's making his way back up to the front, and it looks like the outside line's trying to have a struggle up there. Is they had a run, and now they're just kind of stuck in limbo as the inside line pulls away. DeSpirito and Wesley pulling out, and here comes the 77 again trying to get a run in the middle lane. He's got Dante Ricci right behind him. And another chase driver right there, the 39, Josh Metallic, did get out of the 3-wide situation. Now, all 3, the 3 on the outside line, they could get a run down the backstretch off the side draft of the 88. So I would watch out for that 77.
Oh, we got contact.
Whoa,
Donnie Garrett's around in the 77 with David Lawson. Everybody else avoids it, but those 2 drivers are off into the infield. And a hard hit.
Just what we were saying something about them. They go off the track. No caution, though.
No yellow. We'll have to see if they do call a manual one. They will not, so it will stay green. But that's going to hurt the inside lane. Here comes Dante Ricci with Josh Metallic on that outside. And that might wake everybody up on this lead pack right here. Dante Ricci going to take it away. He's going to lead lap number 55.
What a turn of events. We were talking about how Garrett was a dark horse in this top field, and now all of a sudden he's out of it. And now we have Dante Ricci. Now we have Dante Ricci who's kind of taking his place, to your point, and he's brought the 39 with him. So Josh Metallic is now in second. He could take the lead if he's careful here. And right behind him, the 6 of Wiley Cody. Where did he come from? Like he was in the middle of the pack a minute ago, and now here he is in third.
A couple of the Oscar Mayer machines running in the second and fourth positions. This is going to really get interesting. I think Metallic may run it a little bit calm on the back bumper of Dante Ricci. May want to just try to work that momentum on the outside lane, not try to get too aggressive here. And don't look now, Tim Nofsker He's coming through the field here. Now in the 12th position. He's got some help there from Bob Seminara and Terry Bombard in the outside lane, who's still trying to work the outside. Paglia got shoveled to the middle lane right there, and now they're closing in on Cy Jones. They're going to lap the 7 machine right here, and hopefully they can get around them all right. You got Notsker in the 088. Four wide for a moment right there. That was tight. And that's going to help Notsker. He side drafted the 09 to JR Deal, and they're starting to get a bit of a run there on that outside lane.
They're starting to bunch up again. We're getting into the closing stages of this race. At the line, we'll have 10 to go, so all bets are off. You've got to make your move now if you're going to make it.
Jim Notsker in the 088, Bob Seminara in the 712. The 2 winners in the first round of the chase, looking to get an advancement to the Championship 4. We'll have to see if that outside lane can work this time around. Inside's got more of an advantage at this point. Joe DeSpirito with Grant Wesley there on the inside lane, and got Corey Deal, who has been, like you mentioned, up front pretty much this entire race. Dante Risi, Josh Metallic holding that outside lane, but DeSpirito and Wesley seem to have the best combination right now here at Talladega.
Don't look now, but as we've been talking, these two have been making their way to the front slowly but surely. The outside line, not as fast as the middle and inside line, but still making their way up, because Notsker, even though, like I said, even though the outside line is slow, they do seem to be making up. So within these last 10 laps, we could see Notsker stealing a victory here.
And if things get crazy enough up front, I mean, we saw it happen last week. I think it was David Lawson. Now I remember, it was David Lawson who almost got the race victory last week, and he actually just a few laps ago got sent around there when they had contact with Johnny Garrett. But it was David Lawson who had that run on the outside lane to the end of the race and almost stole the victory away from Bob Seminara. So, you know, if things get crazy enough up front for this race victory, then those guys like Notsker and Seminara and Bombard could have an advantage.
Oh, there they go!
Notsker in the 088.
That's surely going to bring out a yellow.
Outside wall. And I was just about to say, regardless, he was having a good run. He had made up all that time. He was running 9th, but now his car is totaled. And that may end his day here in race 13 of the season, and he's probably going to be in a must-win situation next week because of this accident.
Oh, that's a gut-wrencher, too. He was doing so well. He had gotten into position. You gotta feel bad for the driver in that situation. Whoa, just blow by the pace car. You gotta feel bad for a driver in that position. You'd done everything right. You had tried your best. Hard heartbreak for them.
That's a devastating one for Tim Notsker right there. 088. It's been a tough day. He had rebounded from being a lap down a majority of the race and was trying to work something on the outside lane. Do believe everyone's going to stay out here. They should be good to go on fuel. We may have some guys in the back come down and top off just to be safe. And let's see what happened here to Tim Notsker in the 088 machine. Not at all the run that he was wanting, and regardless of if he got to the race lead or not, I think it would have been a great rebound. He would have had a ton of points heading into the next race. And it looks like Seminara just pushed him a little too much. It was a racing incident, and that sent him into Hank Middleton, and then a hard hit to the outside wall. Terry Bombard barely avoided that one. And then the 712 of Bob Seminara got a piece of it. Seminara did lose a lot of ground there. That's going to send him back in the points a little bit if he can't recover from him. And then hard into the outside wall went Jeffrey Elliott in the 056.
Oh, yeah.
And then the 11, Mike Rogers came in on him right there.
Took a hard shunt to the outside wall. And then, yeah, like you said, the 11 comes in and bam, right in the driver's side door. Man, that, like you said, that was just a racing incident. Seminara got a huge run, and there was nowhere to take it, so he just went into the back end of Notsker. And you got, again, both of those drivers with championship contention. They were going to the next round. They could have had those points advantages, but today they got it overcooked, and they couldn't handle it.
And I would like to just give a disclaimer. I do believe a storm is coming through my area right now, so if you do not hear me for the last few laps of this race, that might be why, but still good for the moment. Joe DeSpirito, still the race leader. Light still on the pace car here on lap number 60 of 66. So now you got DeSpirito, the race leader. Grant Wesley is going to be restarting in the 4th position. And Josh Metallic will be restarting in 6th. If any of those 3 guys win this race, they are on to the championship 4 and will battle for a championship 2 weeks from now. They're pretty much the only 3 chase drivers who are up front who are going to have a reasonable chance at winning this race. Terry Bombard a little ways behind there in the number 10. He's outside the top 10 and will be restarting outside top 10 for this restart. Mark Paglia deep in the field as well. And same with Bob Seminara. Obviously, we saw what happened to Novsker. However, I will say this might bring Richard Martin back on the lead lap. I do believe he was the first guy a lap down, so they'll get the first free pass. Second free pass will probably go to B. Ellisor in the 26 machine. But I don't think it's going to be enough time for Martin to have a shot at the win. But with Novsker getting knocked out, that could help Martin getting back in on the points battle. He could be top 4 in points possibly if things go his way in these final few laps, heading into the second race of this round. So I think it's all going to go down. Do you think a chaser will win? We do have a lot of non-chasers up front here who want to get a race victory before the season ends.
Well, the way that the 24 of Despirito has been running these last few laps, I wouldn't put it past him to maybe charge his way to the lead. When him and the 88 get right behind each other, they've proven that they can dominate. But I don't think I would count out the 944 of Deal yet. He had, like I said earlier, he has been at the front of this field pretty much the entire race. He led a good majority of the opening laps. So I would suspect that he would still have that drive at the end of this race, and we could see him stealing the victory away. But I'm also seeing someone back here that's made his way up, and that's Dante Ricci. He came from the back of the pack the last run, and he has shown that he has got good speed. If he can get in front, I have a feeling that he could also hold the lead. But we'll just have to see. We're going to have a mad dash to the finish, too. There's only going to be a handful of laps. And here comes the 43 to claim a lap back, I think.
So it will be lap 63 of 66. So it'll be a 4-lap dash. So, we're at the point of no return past then. If a caution comes out, the race will end from those 4 laps. So Joe Despirito will be your race leader alongside Corey Dealing. You mentioned Corey Dealing. In the past couple of races, he's had a lot of strong runs. He was one of those guys who was leading a couple weeks ago when we had that extremely close battle between Grant Wesley and Tim Novsker. And, keep in mind, too, the past 2 weeks, we've pretty much had photo finishes here in the Talladega Challenge. You think we might have another one here tonight?
Oh, I wouldn't put it past any of this. Like, the way that these drivers have been racing, I'd almost expect there to be a photo finish because I don't think anyone's going to let up until the very, very end. And if the middle line gets a run, then absolutely, I'm expecting a photo finish.
So it'll be interesting to see who gets this race victory. Will it be a photo finish? There's one guy up here that you didn't mention. 3-time winner this season, Grant Wesley in the 88 machine. Going to be restarting in 4th. And, Wesley, definitely a very solid driver. Obviously a 3-time winner this season and usually keeps a pretty clean wheel. So we'll just have to see how he can do. And also Josh Metallic, he's going to be going for this win as well. Like I mentioned, any of those 3 guys win this race, they're on to the championship 4, and next week is basically just a practice session for them. So that'll definitely work out if a chase driver wins. But we got a lot of non-chasers up here. Yeah, here's one guy we really haven't mentioned much in this race. Glenn Harris in the 08 will be restarting in the 7th position. Solid run for Glenn Harris. Haven't seen much of him this season, but there he is. The shot at a race victory. Bernie Mobbs there. Having a nice run tonight. Would have loved to have that last week. Currently in the 5th position. Will be restarting in 5th. And Hank Middleton inside the top 10. Jessica Shelton moved her way back inside the top 10 as well. They're in the 10th position. Wade Primnow's 11th. Terry Bombard, chase over there in 12th. John Godfrey is going to be 13th. David Melson will be 14th. J.R. Deal will be 15th. Robert Balcom will be 16th. Chris Elliott, 17th. Mark Paglia, 18th. Bob Dixon, 19th. Perry Bond, 20th. Jeff Crivello, 21st. David Lawson, 22nd. Donnie Garrett, 23rd. Those guys going to get back in the pack. Remember, they were leading, and they had their issue where they slid up into the wall, or down, I should say, into the wall. You got Jeffrey Elliott in the 056 alongside Bob Seminara in the back of the pack here. Cy Jones a lap down, same with Mike Rogers. Richard Martin will get his lap back, same with B. Ellisor. So the chase driver is kind of all over the place in this race. You got Paglia in the middle of the pack, Seminara at the back of the pack. Novsker is still out there in the 088.
Yeah, he's running. He's running.
He is on the lead lap, so thought that might have knocked him out. Obviously, a lot of damage on the 080 machine. These guys do run moderate damage, so we're going to have to see if that 088 could possibly Salvaged a good amount of points here. So, I mean, it's been an up and down day for him. Wouldn't be surprised if he pulled off maybe a top 15 in that machine. We'll just have to see. It's going to be 4 laps to go. Who do you think is going to get this race victory?
I don't know. I kind of want to say. I, the thing is that I keep going back to Corey Deal, and I don't. He's been so consistent this race. I honestly think I'm going to give it to Corey Deal because, like I said, if he can pull out in front and stay on that inside line, we saw earlier in the race where he could hold it. So I'm going to go Corey Deal.
We're just going to have to see how it all goes down. Joe DeSpirito, Chase driver, looking to make it into the championship 4. See how it all goes down. 4 laps to go in race 13 of the season in the RTG Talladega Challenge. Let's see who gets it done here in these final 4 laps.
And we are green. A good jump by Joe DeSpirito. He's got the 84 pushing him, and it looks like they're going to have the advantage going to turn 1. But the outside line is sticking right with him. Deal on the outside. He's actually going to fall back a little bit behind the 24, but he's got Wesley pushing him. We're going to see them go rocket down the back straightaway. This could all implode.
Boy. Joe DeSpirito tried to clear Dante Risi. He will. There was contact between the 24 and the 84, and that's going to open the door for the outside lane to get a run. Corey Deal in the 944, and you better believe Grant Wesley, Josh Metallic, they're going to want to push that 944 to the race lead, but DeSpirito with Dante Risi, Bernie Miles on the inside. It's a deadlock up front right now, coming to 3 laps to go.
Yeah, Wesley is definitely going to be wanting to get him out. I have a feeling that if he gets in front, then he's going to be able to slingshot him maybe for, out of turn 4. He could possibly take this win. He definitely needs this win if he wants to ensure himself into the final, into the championship race. But DeSpirito right now holds it. So, again, DeSpirito might walk away with this.
Yeah, you know, DeSpirito, I think the best thing he can do is just hold that inside lane and make sure Dante Risi doesn't get a run to the inside of him. Because at this point, he does not have enough momentum to clear the outside lane, so he really doesn't have any other choice. On the outside back in there, that's going to hurt the outside lane. Jessica Shelton, Terry Bombard coming in. They are going to have a full line of cars here. Dave Melson and Mark Paglia on the outside lane. And it looks like more guys in the back of the pack might join them, and this could really get interesting because we could have ourselves a 3-wide battle for the race lead here very soon. Shelton is coming pretty quick on that outside lane. 2 laps to go this time, and it's Joe DeSpirito at the line.
Joe DeSpirito seems like the inside line seems like it'll have the advantage at the start-finish line. So that might spell good vibes for him because he might be able to just ride where he's at in the middle line. May not be able to have enough speed to catch him. But again, Wesley and Metallic, if they can get the 944 a giant push, then they could be in position. Here comes Jessica Shelton on the outside lane. She's looking for the lead. I don't think she'll be able to get it, though.
Yeah, that inside lane really got a good run that time. DeSpirito can choose where he goes, but Dante Risi going to try to work the outside lane, and that's going to hurt the inside. And Risi wants this race victory in the 84 machine. And Jessica Shelton's still up there. Risi's going to go up high, and it's the white flag. We're going to come back around no matter what. Bernie Mobbs in second. Joe DeSpirito, the race leader. Dante Risi on the way outside lane. Trying to get something to work. DeSpirito getting a bit of a gap between him and Bernie Mobbs. That might be intentional out of the number 90. Mobbs might try to get this race lead away from DeSpirito.
Yeah, he's gonna try and pull. I don't think he's enough room to pull out. Here comes the outside lane, though. Don't count them out. They've pulled alongside. If they can dip down underneath, then they might have a shot at this.
Dante Risi, Jessica Shelton, a couple of non-chase drivers trying to beat the chase driver Joe DeSpirito. But DeSpirito has a huge run on the inside lane. Here we go, coming to the checker flag. Dante Risi in the 84 is going to have a run on the outside, but will it be enough? No, it will not. Joe DeSpirito, you're on to the round of 4 in the championship 4. He wins race 13 here at Talladega.
Amazing drive by Joe DeSpirito. He held that inside line. He managed to hold off every challenger that came behind him. Very good win. Very good drive.
How about that for the driver of the number 24, Joe DeSpirito, held on to the race lead, and he did exactly as I suggested. Just hold on to that inside lane, and it got him the race victory. I think I know what I'm doing here just a little bit.
Hey.
And not only that, you got to look, the other chase drivers here in the field didn't have the best of runs. I think the second highest chase driver who finished this race might have been the number 10 of Terry Bombard.
Wow.
And that's pretty good for Bombard. He's going to have an advantage in points on the rest of those guys. Yeah, Grant Wesley finished in the 11th position. Really couldn't work up. Josh Metallic finished 14th. Richard Martin finished 15th. He rebounded very well in that last run. And, in terms of the points and making it on to the next round, he's going to be right up there with Metallic and Wesley and Bombard. Other guys in the chase, look here, Tim Novsker, Bob Seminara. Seminara finishing 26th, and Novsker finishing in the 27th position. They were the last two chasers in this field. And then Mark Paglia finished in the 13th position, ahead of Josh Metallic. So the top four guys heading into the next race are going to be Despirito, who's already got the championship for Locked, Terry Bombard, Grant Wesley, and Mark Paglia. How about Mark Paglia rebounding? He's actually going to be above the cut line heading into the next race. And who would have thought that would have happened after the issue he had during that green flag cycle earlier on? A great rebound there for the driver of the number 30 or number 20, I should say. But the big story is Joe Despirito, chase driver, getting the win here at Talladega. He'll be on and he will fight for a championship 2 weeks from now in the Championship 4 finale race.
Very good race, very good drive by all these drivers. And like you said, like some of these chase drivers that made it in, like Martin, it was having Martin finish where he did, even though they had hardships earlier on in the race, he pulled off an amazing drive. And I honestly, at the end of the race, it looked like the outside line was going to try and get the advantage, but Joe Despirito just got it done.
He did. And Joe, he held that inside lane the whole way through, and you earned that race victory, no doubt about it. But what were you thinking when Dante moved to the outside there and you stuck to the inside? What was going through your head when all those guys were trying to make moves behind you?
Yeah, I figured all the moves that they were making was only going to slow him down. I knew my guy Bernie was right behind Dante, and Dante moved up. Bernie stayed low, and I was hoping he would come and catch me, and he did, and he gave me some great bumps. So it all worked out. Got the W.
Yeah, and you were one of the few guys in this race, one of the few chase guys in this race that did not have an issue, and that definitely played in your favor. But how does this win help you going into next week? Next week is essentially just a practice session for the Championship 4 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, it is. It gives me some relief. Yeah, it's really. I'm really glad to get this done. I don't think I've ever won in the second round of the chase before, and to have a kind of a week off is, like I said, very relieving. So very happy here on this side.
Well, congratulations on your race victory. Put on a great show, and you did the best job here today at Talladega. Congratulations, and good luck on the Championship 4 2 weeks from now.
I appreciate it. Thanks. I gotta thank my guys, Bernie with the good push at the end, APW Racing, FTMF. You guys putting on a great show. RTG. Grant gave me some good pushes at the end there. Everybody, you guys put on a great show. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you. And Bernie Mobs finishing in the second position. I'm sure you would have loved to have this run last week, but still great to see your run up front have a strong day here at Talladega. But how was, the battle for the lead and your windshield there at the end? It was all in front of you there and end up finishing in the second position.
Yeah, it was great. It was a whole lot of fun. Worked my way back up to the front. Last week would have been much better, definitely. But otherwise, great show. And thanks my brand new sponsor this week, Denny's.
Had a great run there in the number 90 machine and finishing in the second position. And you were helping Joe there. But was there any point there, did you think you might be able to get the run on him and possibly take the race win away?
It was in my mind, but the guys were way too close beside me, so I couldn't duck out and even give it a shot. So I just pushed and figured second was better than being wrecked.
Well, either way, a great run for you here. Congratulations on the solid run, and good luck on the last two races. Even though you're not battling for a championship, definitely showed us you have the car to beat, and you can definitely have a car to win here in the Talladega Challenge. But great job here tonight at Talladega.
Thanks very much, and great broadcast. It's always fun to watch them.
Thank you. And third place finisher, non-chaser Dante Risi. You were one of those guys who ran up front quite a bit in this race. And you tried to make a move to the outside there at the end and help out with Jessica Shelton, but you just couldn't get him at the line. But What was going through your head there in those final few laps trying to get around Joe DeSpirito?
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that last restart was absolutely crazy. Coming back to the caution flag, I was, stuck in the inside line. I was able to get a run on Grant and get in position for the restart on the bottom. On the back straightaway after the restart, Joe kind of made that move up the track, and then he was able to come back down just in front of me. He made a little bit of contact with him, but I'll tell you what, if I was in the same position as he was, I would have thought to do the same thing and change my lineup and try to see where things would go. But you got to stick with your friends and stuff. It was a good race, and the outside line was coming. Jessica was right there, and I knew they had a better run than the middle line at that point in time with one lap to go. So I made that move to the way top, but I don't know. I just think that the middle was so disorganized with the way things were going, and the fact that the middle kind of fell apart when I went up. I don't know if I would have been any better in the middle or if it would have stayed the same. But I think it was the better move to go all the way up to the very top and try to get a push with Jessica. She and I have worked well together for the past couple of races that I've been here, and this was my best finish on the season. I'm really proud of that, and look forward to having many, many more good runs and hopefully get the 84 car back to victory lane.
Well, either way, had a great run here tonight, and you put on a great show, no doubt about that. Good luck in the final 2 races. I'm not sure if you're racing them or not, but good luck either way, and thank you for joining us here. Put on a great show here at Talladega.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex.
You're very welcome, and does it for the interviews right there. Joe DeSpirito with the race victory, Bernie Mobbs in second, Dante Risi in third, and Glenn Harris finishing fourth, and Jessica Sheldon in fifth. And Anthony, it was very, very unique the whole way through with those chase drivers. A lot of them had issues, and now a lot of them are in a position where they have to win next weekend. They can't have those issues next weekend. How do you think it's going to play out next week for the penultimate race of the season?
Well, I think we're going to see a little bit more of the same, where there's going to be a sense of urgency about some of those drivers that this is their last chance. They have to be aggressive, but they can't make mistakes that we've seen them make this race. So again, like I think we're going to see a similar level of aggression, and hopefully that there's a good deal of luck that comes in, because some of these drivers that had bad luck, like the gut wrencher when we saw yeah, what was
It was Tim Novsker.
Tim
Tim
Novsker, yeah,
who,
when we saw
like you
Tim,
mentioned, like you said, he
yeah,
had the issue early on, rebounded and then wrecked out and finished 27th. So
right. You can't have those issues going into next week. You have to be solid. But again, good credit to Tim Nosker, because he was able to put himself in that position to have a chance at it, but then just got the unfortunate break of a racing incident. And that's going to happen when you're in an intense situation where you're in your mind, you're thinking you have to get to the front. Sometimes you just miscalculate things, or someone behind you miscalculates something, and they were both chase drivers that were involved in that wreck. So again, you got to avoid those kind of incidences, but you have to keep the level of aggression high.
you definitely do. And interesting you point out, he was in that position, and so was Seminara. They were both working that outside lane. They were the 2 guys who won in the first round of the chase. They finished 26th and 27th. 2 last guys in the chase who finished in this race here tonight. They're going to be the 2 guys last in points heading into the next race, even though they had the bonus points coming in. So it's the points essentially just flip-flopped heading in to the second round of this round of the chase, I should say. I haven't been using my words too correctly tonight. I apologize. But either way, it's going to be intense next weekend. Only 4 spots. One of them's already taken by Joe DeSpirito. So 3 spots between 7 guys next week. If any of them win, of course, they're on. But the points are really going to come into play. And guys like Terry Bombard and Grant Wesley, they had good runs compared to a lot of the other guys in the field. They're going to be at more of an advantage compared to everyone else. Mark Paglia, Josh Metallic, they're kind of on the edge of the line. Richard Martin as well. And then you got Seminara and Oscar, who fell way back as well in this race. So it's going to be all over the place, but they're also going to have a shot at making it onto the Championship 4. And of course, 2 weeks from now, it is that Championship 4 race. And that's going to really be intense, as the highest finisher between those 4 drivers wins the championship. And with what we've seen in these races so far, they're going to be going all out for that one. It's going to be fun. But either way, Thank you guys so much for watching. Blast calling these races. Huge thanks to Matthew Rodriguez, Seth Cole, and the Flat Out Racing Network guys for letting me call these races. And huge thanks to Anthony McCurry. First time I ever called a race with him. Did a great job. And huge thanks to him for doing the controls tonight as well. All the graphics you see and all that stuff he did tonight, not me. So huge thanks to him for pulling all that off. And yeah. That'll do it for the 13th race of the season. Join us next week for race number 14, where we will set the championship for here in the RTG Talladega Challenge. We already know Joe DeSpirito is going to be in it, but who will be the other three? Tune in next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the Flat Out Racing Network. Thank you guys so much for watching. On behalf of Anthony McCurry, congratulations to Joe DeSpirito. And I've been Alexander Graham. I will see you guys later.